Hello, everyone. My name is Hillary, aka Kay, and this is Kay's Cozy Corner. Today, I want to talk about a series of movies that I enjoy, but I think one in particular could absolutely be better. Okay, so I do want to let you know that this video is going to be full of spoilers. Okay, for the hit movies, I don't know if they were actual hits, but they're a hit in my household. Stepford Wives. I am going to talk about the 1975 version and also the 2004 version. Okay. Oh, also, I'm not going to talk about it, but I did watch the 1980s version recently with my mom, The Step for Children. Freaking hilarious. And I know it's not supposed to be a comedy, but I would really recommend you watch it. It was good. It was a good one. Okay, so Stepford Wives is a film franchise? Not really. There were two. I mean, there were, okay, I guess it's a franchise that talk about how people change. It's a horror franchise about evolution, but also robotics. I absolutely adore the 2004 film. It is very funny. It's a horror comedy, which is a deviation from the 1975 version. So before we get into the 2004 version, let me tell you about the 1975 version, okay? So, in the 1975 Stepford Wives movie, there is a couple who moves to Stepford. Their things are a little off, okay? Everyone is just a little too perfect, but not really everyone. It's mostly the women. They are just not quite right, you know? The main character has some friends who are very normal for a long time, and then they become weird, like everyone else. And then the huge plot twist is that actually all of these women are being turned into robots. And at the end of the movie, we see the main character, she's been fighting for her life, and then we see her go into this room, and there is a body that looks a lot like her body, but it has no eyes. And you know in your mind and your heart that that's going to be her. They're about to snatch her consciousness right out of her body and put it into that soulless robot. Ugh, it's terrifying. It is a truly horrifying movie, mostly because it's about losing your autonomy and losing your personality and really, it's about your partner hating you so much that they want to completely transform you into a different person. So that is the basis for all of the movies that come after it. So in 2004, the director Frank Oz decides, we're going to make a new version of it. It's going to be a horror comedy. And there are some huge name stars in that. Australia's finest, AMC's finest, Nicole Kidman, that nerdy guy next door, Matthew Broderick, um, everyone's favorite crazy dog lady, Glenn Close. That is in reference to Cruella de Vil, if you didn't get it. And our bisexual king, Christopher Walken. It's a fun cast. And then there are also so many other very famous people. So in the 2004 version, we have a very similar plot line. Okay, we have a couple, they also have two kids, and the kids are sort of sent to camp, and then we don't really see them ever again. This family moves to Stepford, Connecticut. That's important for later. The women there are just so perfect in a really unsettling way. And the plot line is supposed to be pretty much the same, right? The men's club where all the men get together and they talk about how much they hate their wives, except for the fact that they love their wives now because they're perfect little robots, because they are literally perfect little robots. Now, the big problem that I have with Stepford Wives, the 2004 version, is the ending. this is something that I've talked with my mom about a lot because what the heck is going on at the end there? To give you a bit of context, if you haven't watched the movie or if you've seen it but it's been a while and you were like, that just was not important to me, the lead up to the ending is that these women are perfect, right? They're robots. And we see some instances of them being robots. So one woman comes in and her husband asks for money from her. And he gives her his credit card. She puts the credit card in her mouth, takes it out of her mouth. Some beep beep boop 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 sounds emit from her body, and then she spits out money. Okay, very robotic. Yeah, I can imagine a robot being an ATM, sure. Another time, a lady was spinning around in a circle. She got overheated or something, and she's spinning and spinning and saying, Dosito, 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 Dosito. And then she spins so much, she falls, and smoke is coming out of her. Okay, yeah, also robot. And then right before everything hits the fan, we see Bette Midler's character standing and her hand is over a stove and active flames. Her hand is touching that stove. Nothing is happening to her hand, right? She's not getting burned. And that's all very much screaming, these women have turned into robots, right? Right. Then we get Christopher Walken's character who talks about how they do this whole process, and he shows a little Jetsons esque video where they have a frumpy looking woman, they put her into some sort of chamber, they put sugar, spice, everything nice, and some microchips in her brain, and then she shoots out of that chamber and is now perfect. Now, that does not indicate to me that these women are turning into robots. That indicates that you're taking these regular women and putting a microchip in their brain so that they'll be perfect. Which that's also a fine plot point to, explore. And then we get to the very end, right? Where we have Matthew Broderick who's gone downstairs and he's pressing buttons, boop, 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 boop. And then these women everyone's at a ball. The women suddenly jostle, and then some weird light emits from them, and then they're mad at their husbands. And I'm thinking, what the heck are you? What? Are you human? What? What do you? What are you? You're mad at your husband, but you're a robot. Shouldn't you have died or something? Like, I'm not understanding it. A major spoiler, although all of this has been spoilers. It turns out that Christopher Walken was actually a full robot. Like, his head gets knocked off and it's just wires inside of him. And so I'm trying to figure out, okay, are there just wires inside of these women? What happened to their body parts, right? Like, what happened to these women? Are they going to be okay? When Nicole Kidman's character was sort of captured at the end, and she saw her bald robot body laying on a slab, I thought, okay, so they have a separate body. Walk with me for a second. These women have a separate robot body where I guess their consciousness is being put into, but also at that ball, all of the women were upset that their husbands did this to them. All of the women plus Roger, I forgot. There's a gay couple in there. Shout out representation. that was that was actually so tragic. I need to be so real with you right now. Their relationship, seeing Roger's transformation was so tragic and it hurt my heart. I did not like that at all. It was actually extremely painful, especially when you think of conversion therapy. It was so much. Anyway, back to the problem of robot versus microchips. I feel like there wasn't a clear consensus because if the women are robots, why would they have the memory that they were ever not a robot, right? That seems like a major flaw in the system. Um, so that was odd. And I think if you and I are making our own unique ending to this film, okay? If we were making an ending, I think I would either go down the Severance route. So, if you're not familiar with it, Severance is a TV show that I think has been running since 2024, right? Okay. Yeah. You'll let me know if I'm incorrect. And it's a show where people have a little microchip implanted in their brain in order to have two separate versions of themselves mentally, not physically. And so I think that either Stepford Wives 2004 should have said, okay, these women have a microchip in their brains, and the microchip is telling them, be a perfect wife. And so it's still physically them, and then we can have that ending. Or we say, they're robots, their consciousness was put into a robot, right? And then at the end, when he's pressing all those buttons, all of those women fall to the ground because they're robots and they cease working. And then you have the real women sort of pop up out of a thing in the basement and they come up to the top and then they're mad at their husbands. I think that would be nice. I think that would actually make it more harrowing, which I get it, it's a horror comedy, but I mean, there needs to be some consequence, right? Because you turned me into a robot and now it's just me bickering at you right here. No. You turned me into a robot and then buried me in a basement, and now I'm coming back up essentially to haunt you. Ugh, I think that would be fun. I think that would be good. Let me know what you think, and also let me know if you've seen this movie. Either if you've seen any of these movies: Stepford Wives 1975, Stepford Wives 2004, The Severance TV show, Stepford Children. Again, a hoot and a half. Truly an absolutely hilarious movie. It was sad, but it was also so 80s, so it was really hard to be horrified, especially the ending. Oh my gosh. That was more gross than anything. Okay, yeah, but I will see you all in the next video. Bye.